In aanloop naar het B2B Marketing Forum op 15 maart in Amsterdam spreek ik met Josh Bernoff. Hij is Senior Vice President bij Forrester Research. En u kent hem misschien wel van het boek Groundswell. En dit is zijn volgende boek, Empowered. En ik ga nu met hem over dat boek praten. Hello, Mr. Bernoff. Welcome.
Hello, it's great to speak with you.
Okay, I just made a small introduction and we're going to talk about your new book, Empowered. Your book is about heroes, which means highly empowered and resourceful operatives. Well, let's speak a little bit about that. What do you mean by that term?
Well, as it turns out, in today's world, the consumers have so much power and are moving so quickly. The only way that companies can keep up with them is to make sure that the people within their own organizations, the employees, have the power to create solutions to reach out to those consumers. Mm-hmm. Those heroes, the highly empowered and resourceful operatives, are the people within a company who are in a position to respond to customer service requests, create applications, create communities, and in general interact with the consumers that need their help.
Okay, can you explain the essence of your book a little bit more when we talk about you? I mean, you work for Forrester Research. Mm-hmm. How, as an individual, are you a hero for your own company?
Well, I'm a hero much like many of the people at Forrester in that I don't worry so much about the boundaries of what I'm supposed to be doing. Things like creating a book, creating a website, interacting with people on Twitter and Facebook. These are things that I do because my own customers, my clients out there, have that expectation that I'll be accessible that way. Mm-hmm. And in many cases, we found that this actually enhances our business.
Yeah. Well, because your book is mainly about how to manage a company mm-hmm. with all those new things coming up. And you think you should give your employees a lot of space and give them the opportunity to interact with the customers?
We do. We believe that there should be a policy that allows that. I want to be clear here. You talked about management. We are not in favor of chaos. We're not saying everyone should do whatever they feel like doing. It is the manager's job to identify the best ways for people to interact, to look for employees that come up with these ideas and support them where it helps the business, and to create some rules to make sure that people are not violating company policies for disclosure or for who's the spokesman for the company or things like mm-hmm. that.
Mm-hmm. But how would it work? Because you give a lot of examples of customers that really disrupt companies. Can you give an example?
Yes. We talk in the book, in fact, the opening story is about a woman named Heather Armstrong. She bought a Maytag washing machine. It failed and the repair people were unable to fix it. And when she told the customer service person, do you know that I have 1 million Twitter followers? They might be interested in hearing about this story. The customer service person said, yes, I know what Twitter is, and no, that will not make any difference, which of course was followed by a tweet that said, to 1 million people, never buy a Maytag washing machine. Now, we contrast this with companies like Best Buy, the electronics retailer, which has set up a system so that 2,000 of its employees have the ability to hear tweets mm-hmm. about Best Buy and to solve people's problems. And the result is that people who might have a problem with Best Buy are more likely to end up talking about how great the company is and how responsive they are.
Mm-hmm. And then how should you manage the company? Because on the other hand, customers can disrupt a company, but the employees can do the same. I mean, I think we've all seen the Domino's Pizza YouTube video where they were spitting on the workers, yes. the pizza makers were spitting on the pizzas. I mean, you definitely don't want to do that. You don't want to give that much freedom to your employees.
Well, that's a good example of what doesn't work. What many companies try to do is they will block sites like Facebook and Twitter, and that's basically saying you're not supposed to use these. Of course, since people have smartphones and they have computers at home, it doesn't really stop anything. It is much more effective to have a policy to say this is the right way to use these tools. You have to be clear that you are an employee of the company when you are out there. You have to turn things over to customer service when appropriate. And also, in a more positive way, that when people come up with ideas like the 12 Force, the Twitter Help Force at Best Buy, that instead of saying, no, that's too difficult, that's not the way we do things, you embrace these ideas, you support them, and turn them into something that's bigger and more powerful for the company.
Okay, you're coming to the Netherlands in March, but I would like to already present to you a Dutch case. A pretty known Dutch comedian, he's called Joep van het Hek. He was really angry with the telecom provider, T-Mobile, because of the crappy service. And he tweeted about it, and he went to all the television news shows in the Netherlands and said that the service was absolutely crappy. If you had to advise T-Mobile, what should they do? Because they, of course, now have a big problem with their image.
That case sounds very much like other cases that I've heard about, and that's exactly the sort of risks that are out there. You never know when the next person who has a service problem will have a lot of followers like the person you just described to me. I can tell you, for example, that AT&T, the phone operator in the United States, which is in much the same position as T-Mobile, actually started to appear in the trending topics because of service problems. They now have a team of over 5 to 10 people who are specifically looking for complaints on Twitter and reaching out. And when, for example, Ashton Kutcher, the actor who has over 1 million followers, started to complain, they immediately went and tried to help solve his problem. This is a way to cut off these sorts of difficulties before you have a comedian talking about it all over the place.
Exactly, because those people are what you call in your book mass influencers. What kind of mass influencers do you have, and how should you approach them as a company?
Well, when we look at influence, it's very interesting. The first thing I'll point out is that based on the way we count it, we estimate that the total number of instances in which one person influences another about a product or service in social networks is about 1/4 as many as all of the instances of online advertising. So already this is a huge force for making impressions. By concentrating on the people who have the most influence, not just people like that comedian who had so many followers, but in general, the 6% of people in social networks that create 80% of the influence, you can make sure that they mostly have opportunities to talk about positive things about your company, and that you help them or stop them when they're in a position to create negative impressions about the company.
Yes. If you look at business-to-business marketing, is it then a different ballgame, or do the same rules apply?
Well, we've studied business to business fairly closely. It's interesting to us that business buyers actually participate in social environments more frequently than average consumers do.
So it's even more important to know them.
Yes, it absolutely is. And we've seen it be very effective. It's now almost a matter of course that people create online communities for their business customers, that they are blogging and twittering out what they're doing. But you want to make sure you're in a similar situation, that even if you have 100 business customers instead of 1 million consumer customers, that you make sure that you don't have one of those 100 becoming unhappy and telling the rest there's a problem. Remember that your business customers are very likely to be similar to each other, and therefore are very likely to be influenced by each other.
Yes. Well, because in your book you say that individuals can know the customer more intimately than a company does. But still, how do you manage all that? Because, for example, the Dutch comedian, we don't want to have a situation that people that are known are treated much better than just the normal consumer. That could be a bit discriminating, couldn't it?
It could, and I don't think that's necessarily a problem. Certainly, the bigger your following is, the more important it is that your problems get solved before you start creating difficulties. But in most of the companies that do this, whether we're talking about Best Buy or AT&T or Maytag, in most of the companies that have tried to set out to improve their service, they try to help anyone who is talking in these environments.
Everyone, so because I have the impression that if you have a lot of followers, you will get a better service than if you only have 50 followers.
Well, the problem is that you never know when an individual will suddenly become popular. There's a great example in the United States of an airline customer on United Airlines, a musician. The baggage handlers broke his guitar, and then the company refused to pay. And he wrote a song called United Breaks Guitars, which over 9 million people have seen the video of that. So at the time, it wasn't clear that he was going to be an influential individual, but now we have 9 million people talking about this song and having that impression that United Airlines is not actually nice to their customers.
Okay. Mr. Bernoff, thank you for this interview. Ja, wilt u horen wat Josh Bernoff kan doen voor uw bedrijf en hoe u zijn boek in kan zetten in uw eigen business-to-business marketingstrategie? Dan zou ik zeggen, kom dan 15 maart naar Amsterdam, naar het B2B Marketing Forum.